Hi, everybody, and happy August 1st, which also happens to be the day that the Common App opens for this admission season. So today you can actually start creating your college applications. I wanted to take you through how to do that. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to commonapp.org. Once you get there, you'll see a screen like this. There are multiple resources here, but for our purposes today, we're just going to click on Apply Now. And since you don't have an account, you're going to click on Create an Account. And then you're going to choose that you are a student, and you're going to enter in an email address. And as you can see, if you don't follow their instructions, they're going to have you update your password. And then you're going to click Continue. Then they're going to ask about your name. The name should be the same as it appears on your Social Security card or birth certificate. So mine is Anna, and we'll go on. And then you would enter your address. So I might enter and then you can enter in the state over here. So I'm from New Jersey. I don't know. Are there any other people from New Jersey here? Let me know. And I'm going to click Continue. And then it would be whatever your sex is and then your phone number. So I'm going to just put my office number here. And then your date of birth. And let's say. And then you're going to select first-year student if this is the first time you're applying for college and you are not already a freshman elsewhere. Or for some people, they may be applying as a transfer student if they're already in college. So tell them a little bit about your plan. So most of you will probably start school the fall of 2017. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And it looks like I didn't answer a question. Oh, you do have to pay attention to this information here, and you check it off, and then you click Create. After you do that, you come across your first interface. So the first thing you're going to do is look at the tabs. So My Colleges would be whichever schools that you are applying for that are listed on the Common App. This is actually the application itself, and we'll walk through that. And then the last part is the college search. So first we can start adding some colleges, for example. Say I would like to add, and then you can just even type part of it and then click search. And then as you can see, they'll all pop up as long as they are part of the common application. So I'll just click those two for now, and we'll click add. And then now, if you go to My Colleges, you'll see that Boston University and Northeastern University are both there. So let's move on and let's go on to the Common App, because you can go back here and then you can search for additional schools and it's all the same. So here you're going to fill in the information if you have a middle name, if you have a suffix, and then if you have a nickname. So for example, if my name was Victoria, maybe I go by Tori, I could just put Tori here. And then, have you ever used any other names? Yes or no. So I'm going to say no. And then you can share more information about your gender identity. That's new. And then your date of birth. And then click Continue. The next part is your address. So if this is the main address you use, just click No Alternate Address, and you can continue on. We can say that, this is your mobile phone, and then you can add any additional phone numbers if you want to as well. And then these, you can see they don't have asterisks, so they're optional, but this one is. So it's up to you how much information you want to fill out as it relates to this. But once you're done, you'll just click yes, I've completed this section to my satisfaction, continue. Here you would put your country of birth. If you were born in the U.S., as many of you are, you could just put that in, and then you could put the city. So I was born in Los Angeles, for example. And here you could put the state. and then how many years you've lived in the US. So for me, that's more, but for most of you, it'll be 17, and 0 if you've never lived outside the USA. The next part talks about how many languages you are proficient in or speak fluently. So I could pick 2, for example. So mine is English, and it happens to be my first language, and you can select all of the above. And then the other language I speak is actually down here. Let's see if we can find it, is Mandarin Chinese. So then you can just, I speak it, and it's spoken at home, for example, in a first language. But more and more colleges are looking for students that speak multiple languages. So any that you do speak, be sure to mention it. And then here, I happen to be a U.S. citizen. They need your social security number if you're going to be applying for financial aid. And actually, the financial aid application opens October 1st this year, which is 3 months earlier than it normally does. So just be sure to include that if you plan on applying for financial aid. And then this part is just, would you like more information about a scholarship? And you can click yes or no. It's not financial aid. It's something completely separate. So I would recommend you say yes, because who can't use money for school, right? And then here is if you need help with the application fees, you can click yes or no. So I don't, and then we'll click continue. Here they'll ask about your parents, if they're married or what the status is, and whom you live with. And if you have any children, for most of you, you won't have any children, and you can click continue. And then here in this section, as it talks about family, it asks about your parents. So this is your first parents, it might be your mom, and I might say the parent is living, and then it'll ask you for their name, their last name, country of birth, email address, their contact phone number, what their job is, and if you don't see it, you can always click other. And then what level of education have they completed? Now, if they had completed, for example, some grade or primary school, you could select that. Or if they went to college, you can click that, and then you could say one school, and then you can actually look up the school that they attended, and then the number of degrees, like bachelor's, master's, for example, that they got from that school. And then click continue. And it'll still allow you to move forward in the application even if you don't have all the information filled out, but it won't allow you to submit it unless all the information with the red asterisks are filled in. So this is the same thing for your second parent. And then if you have any brothers or sisters, you can say, they'll ask about their name and then also what school they're in. So some of them might still be in elementary schools, so you could select that. But if they are attending college already, you'll see that you can, again, look up their school and then click continue. The next section in the Common Application asks about your education. So for that, you can actually look up your high school here. So here, look, it already comes through, right? And then click continue. And it automatically fills in the information. When you started school, is it a boarding school? Do you plan to graduate from this school? And then it asks for your guidance counselor's information. And that's important because if a school has any questions or needs to reach them for their letter of recommendation, for example, then they have all that information handy. Here, if you've attended any other schools, you can list it here so you can add that on. So for example, maybe you went to 2 different high schools because you first attended one high school for 2 years and then you transferred. This is where you could put that second school. If you have or are part of certain programs that help provide you with free assistance, so it's usually a nonprofit group that helps you with college applications, you can select it here and provide more information. And then if for any reason you took a break from school or anything like that, you can check that off as well. Next, some of you may have taken college courses outside of school, so perhaps at your local community college or at the state university near you. You can select that, and then you can put in more information here. For degree earned, you would just leave that blank because unless you did happen to earn a degree from them. Then for grades, this is all information you're going to want to check with your guidance counselor on. Typically, they will provide a packet of information to help you as you fill out your applications. But for example, your school may or may not rank. But if they do rank, you can either click whether they do exact rank or if they rank it by 10 or, so on and so forth. So if I click here, you'll see it automatically drops down and it'll say, oh, are you in the top 10%, the top 20%, so on and so forth. And then you would also have to ask your school if they weight the GPA or if they don't weight. Actually, it's the ranking, I should say. Weight the rank or they don't weight the rank. I find that most schools probably don't weight the rank, so you can just click that, but you can check with your guidance counselor to be sure. And again, approximately how many people are in your graduating class. So for example, in the class of 2017, how many students are there? So let's just say 300, for example. And then this is your cumulative GPA. So it's your GPA from your freshman year on, and it's that average. And then you can click here what the scale is, and you can see that they have all different numbers. So again, that information comes from your guidance counselor, and then just indicate whether your GPA is weighted or unweighted, and then you can click continue. So here we're going to talk about all the classes you're taking this year as a senior. So depending on your school, you might have different amounts of classes, but here you can select if it's a semester, so you take the classes in a half, like one class half the year and another class the second half of the year, or maybe it's a trimester and you have different classes each third of the year or every quarter. So again, you can check with your guidance counselor for that information if you're not sure, but hopefully you can tell just based on the report card that you get every year. So here you actually type in the name of the course. So for example, if I'm taking AP Biology, I would type in AP Biology here, and then it's an advanced placement class, and so on and so forth. If it's not one of these, feel free to leave it blank. And then moving on, they want to know about your honors and awards. So they could be as it relates to your academics. So perhaps you got a certain award for getting straight A's, or maybe you got another award for scoring a certain amount of APs as a 4 or 5. But anyways, this is where you can list it. You put the name of the award, the year in which you received it, and then at what level is the recognition. And then in terms of future plans, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to do, but if you have an idea, you can just select it here, and then what you plan on attaining in terms of the highest amount of education. It doesn't affect your college admissions, it's just additional information they would want to know. Next comes testing. They want to know about all the standardized tests you've taken. So in addition to filling in this section, you have to make sure you go to the test administrator's website. So if you took the SAT, you would have to go to College Board and make sure you send an official score, and it comes directly from the College Board and goes directly to your school. So for example, you click yes. And then maybe you want to, and you see they break it out because you're the first class to be affected by the older SAT and the newer SAT. So select whichever one it was before, and they'll break it out for you. And then here they want to know if you're an international student, and then you can click yes or no. So as you can see, we're going to report our score because we said we took an SAT before March, and we want to report 1. So maybe I do 770, and then you put the date you took the test, for example. whatever date that is, and then so on and so forth, and your highest score for each. And then you click continue. The next section you come across is your activities. So chances are you've been keeping very busy both inside the school and then outside of school. So you can include all of your activities here. But there is a limit of 10 activities. So you're going to click yes, and then you can expand this section, and I'll ask you what kind of activity it is, and then if you had any leadership positions, or telling them a little bit about this activity as well, and then what grades you participated. So maybe you participated 9, 10, 11. And then when did you participate? Hours spent per week and weeks spent per year. That way they just can see where you spend your time. You know, some students, they like to do like 6 activities, but there are some students that devote themselves entirely to 2 activities. And it's not to say one is better or not, but as long as they can see where you devote your time, it helps them understand you a little better. And then down here, they just want to know if you would want to continue this activity once you get to college. And you can click continue, and then you can add up to 10, like I said. Then the last section is the writing section. And you're going to click I understand, and then it's going to say, here's the current colleges that require the personal essay. So far on your list, you can see that Northeastern and Boston both require this essay. You're going to select which topic you're going to answer, and then all you do is just drop your essay in here. You can click on the expand button because obviously it's a little hard to see, you know, everything you've written. So feel free to click this button and then it expands. And then once you're done, you click continue. And then here's some information they just want you to go through as well. So they ask, have you ever been found responsible for disciplinary violation, so on and so forth. You would click no in most cases. And then have you ever been educated, guilty, or blah, blah, blah. Again, you can click no. And then sometimes students want to explain a certain part of either their academic career or even parts of their extracurriculars. So for some reason, if you had witnessed or if you had gone through something that really affected your grades, this would be an opportunity to tell them more about that. So for example, it says, do you wish to provide details of circumstances or qualifications not reflected? You can click yes, and then you get up to 650 words to again explain any situation that might provide them additional information on why, for example, you got C's and D's one semester. Perhaps you were going through something difficult with your family at that time, so on and so forth. So that's basically the actual common application. But what you'll find is after you do that, each school has its own application as well. So if we went to Northeastern, you can see that they also have additional questions. And depending on the school, they may or may not have additional essays. But you can find all this information out right on the dashboard. So for example, this one will say that writing is optional, and there's additional details. So it's not necessarily required. So if we go to Boston University, we can look at their questions and take a look at what some of the additional questions might be. And you can see that they have an additional essay that is required. But for example, if you wanted to include your portfolio or additional materials, this is optional, and you could upload it here. Once you fill in all the information, you do have to complete additional information. Here they talk you about the recommendations and how you can invite recommenders. So you invite and manage recommenders, and you have to accept that. And people often ask me, are you allowed to see your letters of recommendation before they're sent? And in most cases, you won't get the opportunity to. So that's why it's really important that when you pick someone who is going to write your letter of recommendation, that you pick someone that thinks highly of you and knows you very well, and they can really speak to you. So again, you click I waive my right, I understand, and then you just type in your name and the date, and you click save. And here you can select what kind of recommender, and in most cases it should be other. And here they could talk about all these different kinds of people. It might be a teacher or a family member or an employer or a coach. And then you just put their name and their email address and you click add, and they automatically get an invitation via email to submit a letter of recommendation for you. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this crash course on how to complete or start the comment application. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me. And I hope you guys have a great day and a happy admission season.